here's a new song. This is a song that is composed of really not a chorus and a verse. Well, here it is called Do You Know? Do You Know? This song has not really a chorus and a verse. It is constructed of chord after chord to chord that sounds cool. So this chord to this chord sounds cool. Then to this next, then you were in this new chord, right? Then from that new chord, you went to another chord. That sounds cool too. Then from that next chord, you had cool too. And also you have kind of a build going on. So there is so lot of chords. But that's how I actually designed this song. So I'm going to write a song that has a ton of chords. Do you know? It's the name of the song. And this is it. And so there's a ton of chords. So the idea is to build on these chords, and then I put some bass and chord kind of a stride kind of, but slow stride type broken chord bass to the solid chords that I originally wrote. So I just want to look at the solid chords, and even on top of that, it began with a very dissonant chord, a C with a D flat bass. That's how it begins. And then it resolves right to D flat. But I'm going to make a little bit, and by the way, once again, these right here notes, which are written right here, I'm going to be playing an octave higher because I have the keyboard set an octave lower down here, very low, but I'm going to play them right here, and then, but look at it as a D flat in the bass. And it resolves right to a D flat. And then, because of the computer is the greatest thing, and it writes some things and changes things, and we all write everything in the key of C here in Studio E, there is no need to worry chord to chord whether it is a sharp chord or a flat chord, because we're in the key of C, and every little bit is going to be written per measure via the computer, and sharp to where it's needed to be sharp, or flat at where it's needed to be flat. Now, there is sometimes when I took that enharmonic possibility, whether it's a sharp or flat, and decided whether I wanted it a sharp or a flat, as in the third chord in the song, which is a sharp chord to me. It was F sharp. It wasn't a G flat chord, and it was with a C sharp bass, because where it resolved, it could easily be a G flat with a D flat bass, but I made it an F sharp with a C sharp bass. Why? Because within the same measure, it resolves to another C sharp definite chord, which is a B inverted with a C sharp bass. See that? So I needed to have sharps. Now I need to go back to flats. A C with a D flat to a D flat. But then I need to go to sharps. Now I'm already tying a D flat there, but look at that B major. Look at all these. 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 Major 7, right? Here is, and what is this? The 6 and a 2 and all these. With a what bass? With a C sharp enharmonic with a D flat, even though it's tying from a D flat. And then I'm going to hit a C sharp, even though I'm started at a D flat right here. Where everybody, oh, look at treble clef. And right back to the beginning where I was talking about C with a D flat to a D flat. And then an F sharp, remember, just like I was doing before, just a repeat of this top part, same 4 bars. And then this time I go C with D flat bass to D flat to B major 7, full B major 7, full B major 7 with a C sharp bass. And I make it little, look at that, little C sharp and a G sharp, not just a C sharp like I hit before over up here, but now on my treble clef, little cross-handed part with the left hand, F sharp and a C sharp, C sharp and a G sharp. And then from there, it actually, now I'm going to say that this is right here, because this is where I wanted to resolve into this block right here. So listen to this. It resolves from here, a B major 7 with a C, remember, enharmonic to D flat is C sharp, so the C flat is a C sharp right bass. And then, imagine this right here. And Hear the resolution of that fifth to upper half step neighbor. But I change it then to a flat chord, and it's a B flat major 7 with a C bass. And from there, I go to an E minor 7-2-4. So it starts in all these. I'm still not done. I'm kind of in an intro part. Now I'm kind of hitting into a song part where I go here, and then I'm into the E minor 7-2-4 over here. E minor 7-2-4. Keep an eye on just the chords. Don't matter on the left hand yet. Look at that. A D7. Oh, such a cool chord. D7, 2. But what is that cool sounding in there? It's the 7. 7-2-6 right there. 7-2-6. Whatever block it's in. And then back to the E minor 7-2-4. D7-2-6. So you can. I'm picking some chords to go to, huh? Now listen to this. D7-2-6. 1 half step up and make it a minor 7-2. What? It sounds so cool. It's a D7-2-6 right in the beginning of this line. And by the end of the line, it's D minor 7-2. Keep following the melody notes. A major 7 with a B bass. Just following the chords here. Moving one finger down. We've done this before, from an A with a B bass to a B7. Keeping the B as the common tone. Bass is the common tone. And we're doing that once again. From an A major 7 to a B. All these. And now look at this. Here's a from right here. A major 7 with a B bass. I go to a flat. From A with a B bass to an A flat with a B flat bass. But the computer writes it. A major 7 with a B bass to a B7, just sliding that one finger. And then I slide to an A flat with a B flat bass, letting the computer do the change from a sharping from here all on sharps to right into flats. Look at that, just changes that one measure. So just no key of C. We're in the key of C. We can go anywhere we want to because this song goes everywhere we want to. Chord to chord. Remember the sword. Do you know this song goes chord to chord to chord to chord to chord to chord? That's what it does. It goes chord to chord, and it builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. And so it builds. Look, we started here. Now we're all of a sudden into this. It's keeping on building. There is a melody right here. Yeah, you can pick that up. I should have probably put an N C on that, but there is no chord written below it, and it is no chord to a. This I decided to make a G sharp because of the way the walk is of the fill of the time, 50% of music. Anyways, it's a G. I made it a G sharp minor 7-6. It's cool. G sharp minor 6. 7-2. 7-2. But I made it G sharp. We're talking enharmonically instead of A flat. I made it G sharp. And then at the very end, it switches. It's almost too easy that it switches at the very, very end to just an E, a complete E chord with the G bass. You know, when I was writing this song, I don't really know how I got chord to chord. I do know. I just went. I kept I think I had to write these down as I was going. Like, oh, I like this to go. And I was going in an oblique way. I wasn't. All these chord changes that I'm doing are not standard. They're kind of standard, but they're not standard. Well, they could be standard now that they're all around each other. But it made a song. Again, into the G sharp minor 7. I have a squish at the top. It's a G sharp minor 7, and then to right here I have a common tone to the B, and I went to the just because I like that sound of an E with a G bass, and I kept it. The time during that time is just blocking it down, doing a solid. I'm going to show you that with a no chord, and then it goes into, I would say, kind of the climax where it's just going crazy with a G flat major 7 and an A flat bass, all over the place, to a F sharp minor 7 2. I can put a 4 in there legally too. 4 and 2 and 7 on an F sharp, and keep that same notes, all those common notes in the right hand, and just switch the bass to a B. And there I am. That's what ends the row of chords. And A. And then it goes right back to the game. Yeah. This is a cool song to learn. Do you know? It's a great song. And what is the big E in studio? Right in the beginning, as I say, I'm playing it. Kind of like back and forth between the D flat, the C with the D flat, but always with the D flat bass, and then and harmonically switches to an F sharp with a C sharp bass, which is D flat, and then I keep the C sharp going and make it a B chord, and then a C with a D flat bass and a D flat, and then this is a B major 7 with a D flat bass, but I make it a C sharp, because when it's a sharp, I make it a sharp bass. When it's a flat chord, I make it a flat bass. Like in this one, it's a flat chord right here. And make it a flat chord. It's not a sharp chord, it's a flat chord. So I started with a C with a D flat bass, and I kept it going to a D flat. I didn't go to a C sharp. And now I went to I look at this chord, to me it's more of a G, it could be a G flat with a D flat bass. But I went F sharp because of the next chord. Because the next chord is a B, not a C flat chord, but a B with a C sharp bass. And I want to keep the common bass note. And I got the common bass note of D flat bass and C sharp, and harmonically, and then D flat again, and keeping the D flat down there. This is the D flat, right? Even if I cross hand, it's a D flat or a C sharp. Yeah. So, anyways, I do the same thing again right here. And then there's a B major with a D C sharp bass now, and then I fifth off of it. Now watch, if you look at this fifth, it's a cross-handed here. I'm going to go back to the regular hand, put my fingers right on those two notes, which are right here, and I'm going to raise it just a little bit to D and A. D and A. And I'm going to make it a B flat chord. So it's almost like a, if I wasn't crossing like this, if I put my D flat down here, see how it does it? Just chromatic neighbors it. But because I'm cross-handing something, that's treble clef. Cool? Cross-handing. Cross-handing. Cross-handing like this. Then I'm going to really take that chord and chromatic neighbor it down. And then into the main part of the beat. Now, I've done this in beat. There's a beat here. I don't have a click track. But anyways, I'm playing up an octave too. Then, this is a B flat with a C bass. Now watch this part. I'm going to take the solid chords. E minor 7 2. From here to here. Decided at that one time when I made this song, I'm going from a B flat with a C bass to an E minor 7 2 4, and I'm going to stay right there. I'm thumbing the 3 minor 3 and the 4 constantly. See that? And then my second finger is on that B or not, and look at my fourth and my fifth finger is just going to crawl up that 4, that E minor 2 7 4 chord. And then when it lands on a D7, what is that? It's a unusual, it's a D7-6, but there's something unusual in there. What's unusual? It is a spelling that is 2 and 6. It's almost happy. A 2, 6, 7. There's a 7 there. And this is it 1 octave higher. D7-2-6. Back to that E minor 7. It's the same chord up here. Keeping my thumb with my minor 3 and 4 together. Same thing happens again, just at the page turn. Crawling, keeping my thumb right there. Here I got the page turn. D7, D7-6, E minor 7, 2, 4. Keeping my thumb right there. Back to the D7-2-6. Same up there. Switching to a D minor 7-2. Look at that. And inverting and 64th noting it. It's only a 4-note chord, and it's a D minor 7-2. That's next. I think it's an E. It's fun to just take a chord and just break it apart in 64th notes. It's really just a flutter down or up. Isn't that fun? So that note that I picked, I will go with it. It's a C, yeah. I was right, it was a C. It's the same note up an octave. Do as much as I have in the time to do it in. Right? Then, that's the end of it right here. I made it. I made it all the way to middle C. A major 7-2 with a B bass. And doing the same, it's harder to notate evenly, but I'm taking that chord and then resolve it by that, we've done that, taking that one finger move to make it from an A to like a B bass to a B7-2. By moving only one finger, and then you've extended it, making a major 7, A major 7 with a B bass, and then move that same finger and make it into a B7-2-6. What if you did it while you were rolling? Like you were rolling down there. I'm in the A major 7, and then I kind of squish to that A, B6, and I would land on the 7 of the B. And then to an A flat with a B flat bass. And now I'm going up, but solidly, breaking only a full chord by taking the bottom note and then the top 3 notes. The bottom note, the top 3 notes, bottom note. Catching the melody. This could be all an A flat minor 7-2, but I took it as a G sharp minor 7-2 at N harmonic to the A flat minor. But look at how I wrote this riff in between in sharps. It looked better in sharps. I stuck with sharp, let the computer do the work for me. I write in the key of C here in Studio E because you get to change anything you want to and let the computer do the work for you. And that's what I do here. I wanted it to be a sharp looking thing coming out of a flat, which is A with A flat with a B flat bass. Melody, and then melody, that's how the melody goes. But that note right there is a squished G sharp minor 7. Look at the riff that comes. I'm crawling up. So I have to put an F sharp in there. Okay. No, I don't. Yeah, I do. I don't have to put an E sharp. I mean, I just write it as it is. There it is. Now listen, if I just take that note, remember there was a sharp in this measure right here. So I just did this here, this G sharp minor 7, and did the crawl up. There it is, right there. F natural, because there's no key signature, to an F sharp, to a G sharp, to an A sharp, B. That's a beautiful thing, but you have to remember what's within the measure and what one note in this one chord is in the measure. It almost can have a reminder, parentheses around it. It is a G sharp. Right here, G sharp, but with a G bass. It's an E chord, full chord, with a G bass. You're going to see it here. Unfortunately, it doesn't tie up. There it is. It comes from this to A flat minor, G sharp minor 7 we just had. We went like that. Yeah, it is that dissonant. I wanted that E chord with a G bass. And listen to me emphasize it. Catch. Right there on A. Now it becomes an A flat and harmonic because the next stuff is A flat. That's how Do You Know goes. It is that cool. It, as I said, it was written as a song that went chord to chord to chord to chord to chord for a real long time, and then it resolved itself and did it over again. And it really didn't have a verse or a chorus. It's just a string of chords that sound really cool one next to each other. So here you go, this chord. I got to find the coolest chord or most unusual, but I just like it. Like one night I'll just fool on them, try to find that chord, find that second chord, and then the next night try to find that the chord that I went to. Now I want that chord that I went to, I want to go further. I want to go to another chord. So maybe I just play the first and the second chord the first night. Then the second night, I go to the second chord first. I'm like, well, what chord do I want to go to from here? Like starting on the second chord, and then I find that. Some nights I might have gone a little further than one or two chords ahead, but the point is that's how I did each chord, was just searching for a chord that would sound good to the next chord I was on. And it became such a cool song. Do you know? Yeah.